I'll first show up in the familiar form everyone knows. When using my skill, I'll deal damage to one designated enemy and adjacent targets. The use of my skill also grants me core flames. Once I've collected enough of them, I can activate my ultimate.
Phainon can also gain core flames when he's selected as a target by a teammate or enemy ability. If he is the target of a teammate's ability, Phainon will deal even more damage.
When I use my ultimate, I'll create a territory and transform.
After transforming, Phainon powers up massively. Teammates temporarily retreat and can't take action, while he faces the enemy head-on with newfound strength. All the talents and buffs from Phainon's teammates still stay active to provide him with much-needed support.
After using the core flames to transform, I have access to the powers of 3 kinds of titans: Creation, Calamity, and Foundation, each with a brand new ability. Tapping into the power of the Creation Titans, I can deal damage to one designated enemy and adjacent targets. Calling upon the power of the Calamity Titans, I'll enter a special state called Soul Scorch. In this state, I'll force all enemies to immediately take action, during which I receive reduced damage, and each hit I take builds up the Soul Scorch stack. Once all enemies have taken action, I retaliate, dealing damage to all enemies and then unleashing multiple instances of damage on one random enemy.
The more Soul Scorch stacks he's got, the stronger that counterattack hits.
Using these 2 abilities also grants me an exclusive charge called Scourge, which fuels my 3rd ability. With the power of the Foundation Titans, I dispel all debuffs on myself, then use Scourge Charge to deal bounce damage. If I've maxed out the consumable Scourge Charge, I also slam all enemies with extra damage.
Once all his actions have been used up, Phainon will unleash one final blow, hitting all enemies before removing the territory. Phainon's technique is pretty unique too. Upon casting it, Phainon instantly strikes all enemies in a certain radius. If they're normal enemies, they're immediately wiped out without even triggering a battle.
Wait, all enemies? That's nuts!
This technique consumes 2 technique points.
If the technique misses, it won't cost any points. Plus, when Phainon's in the team, the technique point cap goes up by 3.
When I use my technique to enter combat, I'll also regenerate energy for my teammates. In addition, at the start of each wave, I'll deal damage to all enemies and gain Scourge.